Hey everybody! Korakan Nala here,
And I'm Matt Kohler.
and Matt Kohler is the director of Batman Master of Fear, which you're starting episode 2 soon. You got
Yeah, we are in the process of casting right now.
That's awesome. He also joins me on the Young Justice reactions, which we're trying to get back on track, but things have been really busy for both of us lately. But we're working on it. And today we're going to be reviewing The Foreigner, which is directed by Martin Campbell, who also did Casino Royale. He also directed a couple of,
GoldenEye.
yep, GoldenEye, Mask of Zorro, which I really liked
Mm,
Mask of Zorro. He
I
also,
have not.
you haven't seen it?
No.
Oh, you should watch it. That's a good movie. Antonio Banderas. I like his name. I just like saying Antonio Banderas. But he also directed The Green Lantern. So we'll forgive him for that. And we'll just focus on GoldenEye, Casino Royale.
And that's why he hasn't directed a movie since Green Lantern. It's
Mm,
probably because of Green Lantern.
Casino Royale came after, didn't it?
No, Green Lantern came out in 2011. Casino Royale came out like in
Oh, wow.
'06.
Yeah, we'll just forget that one happened. We'll think Casino Royale was that's the movie that they market in the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're
Obviously,
going to be like guys
no.
that brought you Green Lantern.
Right. So we've got Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan in this movie. Now, I was looking over at some of the trailers again because we had talked about this a couple of days ago. I thought the trailers were misleading. That they made it look like a Jackie Chan action film, and oh yeah, Pierce Brosnan's in it. But
And
that's
it's
not it.
almost the other way around.
Yeah, it's pretty much half and half. I mean, you have both Jackie Chan's story and Pierce Brosnan's story linear, kind of going with each other until it culminates a couple of spots, but then near the end of the story. And
Mm-hmm.
all of the action scenes they show in the trailer are in the movie. Now, we
Yep.
won't get into any spoilers, but I'm just saying if you're going in to see this movie, know that the trailers are a bit misleading and they're making you think it's going to be like Rumble in the Bronx or First Strike, a new police story Jackie Chan action film, when it's actually a dramatic thriller that has action elements. So, what did you think of the trailers?
I think the exact same thing because in the trailer I'm like, wow, there's going to be a lot of fighting, which I haven't seen Jackie Chan do that much fighting probably since the '90s, so I was kind of stunned. And then, yeah, I didn't really think too much of it. I suspected that it wasn't going to be that. I know we talked about that because
Yeah,
it's like there's no way this is just going to be 20 to 30 minutes of nonstop action.
right. So, I I'm a little mad at the marketing. I think it mismarketed the movie. Now, not too much, because one of the trailers, I think it was the first one, the 2 minute one or 2.5 minute one, actually had a lot of Pierce Brosnan in there. However, they still
Yeah.
did show like every action scene.
And they also have like hip hop music. They've made it a lot more upbeat than the movie ever is.
Yeah, the tone of the film is very much of a thriller, and his daughter is dead. It's like it's very drained, emotionally draining kind of film. And
Yes.
that going to another part is Jackie Chan's performance. Well, both Chan and Pierce Brosnan, they both pulled out an amazing performance in this movie.
Uh, we both talked about it. I know for me, Pierce Brosnan, that was his best performance I've seen. That's definitely one of Jackie Chan's better performances as well. Although he didn't say a lot, his his demeanor captured me a lot more than whatever he had to say.
Well, he didn't really need to say a lot of stuff.
Oh
I
no,
mean,
no,
most
no,
of
I
it, he
agree.
yeah, he had it in his face. Like
Yeah,
you could just feel the emotion drained out of him. Like some of the moments, like when he was in his apartment and he's talking to or the lady is talking to him, and his
Hmm.
face is, it's like you could see his soul was pulled out. He was so drained of
Yeah,
all emotion, but then you would see one tear come down his face. You're like, man, that's crazy good. And it reminded me of the recent interview he did on Stephen Colbert, where he said, I want people to know that I'm an actor that knows martial arts. I'm not a martial artist that acts. And I think he proves that in this movie.
I feel like in a lot of ways that this movie is similar to Arnold Schwarzenegger's Maggie, and I won't get into too much detail, but he kind of does a similar performance,
Yeah,
giving a more serious than what we're used to.
yeah, it's a departure. It's a very much more of a dramatic role for both of them.
Hmm.
But that being said, the action stuff that they did have with Jackie, I mean, looked great as usual. But I do think that it was edited a little too much.
I agree. It felt a lot like, I mean, it felt like a Casino Royale or just any modern American action film where they still edit too much. There's
Hmm.
uh, more insert shots and it's closer up. I noticed that a decent amount, but other than that, I still think it wasn't as much edited as a lot of other action movies you see.
Yeah, no, it was still better than, you know, 50, at least 50% of the action movies that are out there, but it was still edited more than I'm used to seeing Jackie Chan be edited. But
Yeah,
I don't think that was Chan's choice. That's that's Martin Campbell and the editor's choice. Um, I think it's just the style they were going for. However, the camera was kept still, so there were multiple edits, but at least the camera wasn't shaking, and it was pulled back to a medium length. It wasn't a close up, but it wasn't a wide shot.
yeah, they did have a lot more medium. And another thing that was interesting to see, most of the shots you could just see Jackie Chan doing everything, and it's totally compared to a lot of the other action stars, it's a lot more insert shots compared to even this film. So it was just cool to see Jackie Chan just be Jackie Chan in certain scenes, and you're still able to see somewhat what he's doing.
Yeah, but although the action was cool, it really is about the story of this thriller. You know, we'll get into more details on that in the spoiler. But how do you think overall the pacing of the story would be?
I think the middle section kind of takes a little while to get to because I I really enjoyed the beginning and end. But for me, when Jackie Chan starts searching for who did this, it takes a little bit to get to it to get to where he's trying to go.
Yeah.
And we talked about this, how he kind of does some of the same tactics to the same people, and it was totally unnecessary. We could have
Mhm.
just went to, one of the big bad guys.
Yeah, I was. I think there were a few scenes in the middle that were either repetitive or not needed that could have been cut out that brought the beginning and the first and third act a little closer. I think
Mm.
they could have shortened the second act a little bit more and made that tighter. But I never felt bored. It wasn't like
No,
I never felt like, okay, come on, let's go to the next scene. It was more of like, okay, you don't really need that scene, but whatever, and then move on again. So,
yeah, I agree. And to even point this out, my grandma normally falls asleep during movies, and she only fell asleep once, which is unusual.
that's
So,
that's amazing.
so it got her hooked, and she's not a huge Jackie Chan fan. So,
But like Pierce Brosnan, for his half, you would think if half the movie is Brosnan and half the movie is Jackie, that people would be bored during the Pierce Brosnan part and just waiting to go back to Chan. And it wasn't that. I was fully engaged on
Oh,
both sides.
his performance was so totally engaging. The one thing I will say is if there was a scene that focused on neither of those two, it definitely wasn't as interesting because the two main actors did such an amazing job that anyone else was just kind of, oh, okay, let's just get back to Pierce Brosnan or Jackie.
Yeah, and it was nice to hear Pierce Brosnan in an Irish accent.
Agree. And he cusses a lot at people.
He does. So
So,
if you're a big fan of Jackie Chan and you're looking for a PG-13 movie, this isn't it. This is an R-rated movie, not from his point, but there are a lot of cussing and there's some adult themes in there. But
I'd
just to
say
give you
probably
an
the
idea,
closest movie is Rumble in the Bronx. Because wasn't that R-rated too?
maybe barely. This one has enough f bombs that it's pretty much a hard R. And there were some other themes in there that we'll get into in spoilers, but it is very much of an R-rated thriller movie. And I think for the
Mm-hmm.
thriller aspect, having the stories come together, like I never quite, I had an idea or I knew who it might be, but just seeing how everything played out throughout the story was nice and smooth and uh, had a good payoff at the end. I was happy when it was over.
Agreed.
But what did you think about the cinematography?
I it's really hard to focus on that so much the first showing. I was mostly focused on the fight choreography, but from what I saw, I enjoyed. I thought the fight scenes they did some unique stuff with the camera. It wasn't just even though they did have it stagger, it was moving, it was in different areas. Outside of that,
I liked I liked the cinematography, especially for the outside shots, because they put a
mhm.
lot of information in there. Like when he's in the woods, the camera is pulled back a little bit more. You get to see the woods. Um, Things like the scene in the trailer where the guy trips and falls and he pulls the leaf
Oh
blanket
yeah,
over him.
that's
Like that was a
awesome.
nice, beautiful, wider shot. But even scenes with Brosnan in the office, they had a lot of busy stuff going on around the room. You got to see a lot of the production set. It wasn't totally full on one face close ups that a lot of movies do. They had some of
Hmm.
those, but it was still pulled back. So I liked the way it was shot. I liked the way it looked. I think it fit the tone very well. Um, Overall, I'm happy with the movie. I mean, do you have anything to add for the spoiler free part?
The only other thing I will say is it's some of the most unique fight choreography for even Jackie Chan because he is older, so he almost feels like he's more exploited by his opponents. So seeing him in a different state and with a
Right.
it almost like this is the first time I've really seen Jackie Chan, the actor, use that for Jackie Chan, the character, as his fight scenes. It seemed like that melted together a lot more than a lot of his other films.
Well, they did play with the fact that he was older. They made him
Mm-hmm.
look older than he normally looks. They played on his age a lot, and the fighting style took that into consideration that he would get hurt,
Yeah.
that he's not as fast as everyone else, but he can still kick butt. He
Yep.
just got hurt a lot. So, yeah, they did a good job with that. They didn't make him a superhero, they actually they made it look realistic.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give this movie for my grade. So I go from F to A plus. Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna give it A minus. Now I'm going a little high. I wanted to say a B plus, but I'm going A minus because I think the performances of Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan really elevated the movie. Without them, it would just be a good thriller. But
Okay.
with them in it, I think their performances just elevated it a little, an extra notch for me.
For me, I would say a B, and mainly that has to do with fight choreography issues. I think they should have extended some of the more important fight scenes, like the one at the end and the one against the nephew. I
Right?
think because they built that fight up so long, it should have been a little bit longer. Um, Other than that, like I love the performance of Pierce Brosnan and Jackie Chan, but like you said, if you take them out, it's nowhere near as exciting.
No, it really needs them to give it, make it the movie it is. Uh,
I
I
also would just give a grade for F for marketing because, like you said, if you go in thinking that this is just going to be Jackie Chan doing what he did,
no,
you're going to be very disappointed.
yeah, I wish the marketing had marketed it as a thriller and not an action film.
Yep.
So, and I think that hurt the movie. However, uh, before we get into the spoiler part, it did make like 13 million in the U.S. on the opening weekend, which is not bad. Still pretty decent for a thriller on an opening weekend. But worldwide, it made 100 million. That is how popular Jackie Chan is. That on opening weekend, the worldwide numbers just uh, obliterate the U.S. numbers. So it made a
Well,
profit. They're not worried about making a profit.
anytime Jackie Chan, and also most of Jackie Chan films are done on a lower budget.
Yeah,
I've never seen Jackie Chan do a film that costs 90 plus million besides the Rush Hour movies. But I mean, say what you will, but anytime Jackie Chan does something interesting, people talk.
yeah,
And this is one of those movies.
yep. So I'm going to put a link to some of the trailers in the description below, as well as that interview he did with Stephen Colbert. I think it's a really great interview to watch. So check those out. Now we're going to get into spoiler talk. So if you do not want to know any spoilers and you want to go watch the movie first, feel free to click off here and come back after you've seen it. So you've been warned. Let's go into spoilers. I'm going to just jump into the elephant in the room, for me at least, on this movie is the nephew and the aunt.
By far the weirdest part.
Yeah, I don't see why it was necessary, except to be cringeworthy. Um, the
That's
only
just a thing with a
it
lot of
seemed
movies.
yeah, it seemed like the only reason to have it was to one be controversial, and
Yep,
then
or just to have it.
yeah, and two to be a reason to kill the wife. But
Yeah,
you don't really need them to be lovers to do that.
or kill the wife even. I mean, I feel like in a lot of ways it reminded me of John Wick when the one assassin girl dies at the end, where she goes to that meeting and gets shot down by the other assassins.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like there was no real point to them being lovers, except that that's how the information gets out. But you don't have to make them lovers for that. He could just be
It's also
talking to his
impressive.
aunt.
It's also impressive how good her hearing is, because it was only by phone, and he wasn't on speaker.
Yeah, she's got an amazing ear.
So somehow she's like. Also, it's very bizarre that she's going to go the lengths of sleeping with her nephew or her husband's nephew for this.
Oh, it was her nephew. He was the son
Oh
of
yeah,
yeah, he was the son of her brother.
yeah.
So yeah, it's weird. But anyway, that aside, the one of the scenes I thought that they could have cut out easily was after the bombing of the barn at the farmhouse, which I thought was a really great way of showing that no matter how much security you have, I'm going to get through.
Yep.
That right after that, he orders more men, and then before the men get there, they have another bombing of the car, and that injures a person, but it really doesn't add any value to it, just that he got to him 2 times. But
Which you already got to him another time. I guess they were trying to make the rule of threes because
yeah,
he got them at the his office with the bathroom. Then he got them at the barn and then the car. But I agree the car's kind of overkill.
well, it just seemed like time padding. Like they were trying to get another excuse to bring the nephew back to hunt him down. You could have just cut that car part out, and as soon as the barn got blown up, he's like, "All right, nephew, you need to come back."
Yeah, I feel like they should have done something with the nephew, like maybe build him up a little bit more. If you're going to have a scene, if you're going to try to kill time, then do what almost every other martial art movie, even though this ain't completely a martial art movie, has some sort of martial arts in it. The guy that you hire, because in every martial art movie, there was always that trope where the main villain never fights. He always hires someone else to fight. So
Right.
show a scene where he's training or explain why this guy's insane.
Yeah. I the whole theater though, the moment when he's fighting the nephew and he trips him and drops him to the ground and stops him right before the
Oh yeah.
stick in the throat, my entire theater went, "Oh, oh, damn. Oh, like did they tense up in your theater?"
They did that, but everyone really got loud when Jackie Chan kicked him and he hit the tree.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had a few people that were like, "Oh," but when he got tripped and the stick was at his throat, that was the loudest our theater got. It was more a lot of yeah.
There was a lot of reactions to the final fight. Um,
I thought
espe-
I thought it was a good
okay,
fight, but I do agree with you. I think it was short.
yeah, and that's kind of like I know Jackie Chan's older, but when you watch him, I mean, he's probably better than or is better than 80 to 90% of people who ever do that stuff still. And
Yeah.
so adding 30 to 45 seconds just some because the problem is they showed that part in the trailer where he kicks the guy to the tree and that's a pretty sweet stunt or part of the fight. And it's upsetting because we talked about this how when you want if you ever watch the Jackie Chan First Strike trailer, it's not like they show the entire ladder fight. They show like seconds of it.
Right.
They don't show the best part. And
Yeah.
I wish there was just some other stuff so you anticipated certain moments that you might have saw in the trailer, like, oh, I can't wait till he does this. And you're trying to piece together, the beginning to the ending is like, oh, how they're going to get to this setup where he kicks him to the tree.
Well, I think then
And
that for the trailers, they should have kept it, closer to a thriller. And the only action scene they should have shown were maybe bits and pieces when he's in the room with the multiple guys. That would be a
I
good
agree.
one to. They showed that in like one of the teasers. If that
Mm-hmm.
is your only thing, like don't show the rooftop, don't show the nephew fight, just show him interacting with those three guys and the girl in that apartment, and then the
Yeah,
rest
because
of it be the thriller.
that part where he gets kicked and gets slid like off the rooftop is also another cool part.
Yeah.
And I think if the audience, and that's a problem with just trailers nowadays, is I think if the audience hadn't seen stuff like that already, and almost none of the audience knew that there was going to be fight scenes in it, I think people would be even more excited when they see that because then they're
Yeah.
getting a treat.
Yeah. It reminds me of this, uh, the marketing for Secondhand Lions. Have you ever seen that movie?
I know of it. I have not seen it.
So the marketing in the trailer, it's basically the drama of this kid that goes to live with his grandfather or his two great uncles, which are
Mm-hmm.
Robert Duvall, and Michael Caine. Now,
Okay.
I want
Oh yeah, I've seen this movie. I don't
yeah.
know why I would.
So I wanted to see it just because Michael Caine and Robert Duvall are in a movie. Like, I don't care about the kid, but whatever.
And together.
Yeah. And there was a lion in there, and I had no idea why the lion was there. So I wanted to see what this movie was. The trailers did not even touch on half the film. Half of the movie were backflashes of when they were younger, and they had these big action set pieces and amazing, like, stuff of them in
Oh God.
Arabia and them doing like stunt flying, and like half the movie was amazing, but the trailer only touched on them uh, as older men talking to their nephew. So I would like the marketing to have at least had a little bit of that, so that people would be
Yep.
like, "Oh, what is that?" That would bring in some audience. But at the same time, I don't want them to just show that because they know it would bring in audience. Because the main core of your
Hmm.
story is still these two old guys that are teaching their nephew. I would have
And
liked,
also another thing is you don't want audience members to go in expecting 20-25 minutes of fight scenes and then be disappointed that Jackie Chan is older or whatnot, because I mean, if you go in expecting, oh man, he's gonna, do Legend of the Drunken Master style fight scenes, and that's one thing I will say that I loved. Jackie Chan's not doing like kung fu or another style of martial art. He's just like survival fighting
yeah.
in this movie,
Well,
and
and
that
yeah, no,
hold
I
on.
I agree. And one of the another thing is the trailers making it look more like an action film kind of take away from the entire purpose of him doing the movie in the first place, which is him trying to prove that he's a dramatic actor. And
Yep.
so he took on this role to prove that he's a dramatic actor, which I think he did. I think he proved his dramatic chops highly.
I, I would actually love to see both of those guys in another movie together.
Yeah. And
Like they actually had really good chemistry as well together.
they
Like
did.
they had 3 scenes together,
Hmm.
and like I think Pierce Brosnan understood Jackie Chan. I think Jackie Chan understood him, because even though Jackie Chan didn't talk a lot, Pierce Brosnan understood to carry the scene. And I mean, each scene he was in, I mean, like I said, they both were amazing.
Yeah. And I think the trailers kind of take away from that because people are expecting a 1990s action film, and then they get this drama. And when they're not expecting the drama, then they don't like it as much. If you showcase some of it more in the trailers and not try and push the action part, then they'll go in expecting that. And I think they should have,
Yeah,
because it takes away his performance.
yeah. I think what they could have done is something along the lines of, for the first like minute 45 seconds of the trailer, show all drama. Last 15 seconds, you show part of a fight scene. So the last thing that they think of is like, oh wow, Jackie Chan in this drama is going to showcase his stuff. This is going to be exciting. So
Yeah.
that way, like we both said, you go in expecting a drama, but you get treated for, because there's four action set pieces in this movie.
Yeah.
There's the roof, the wilderness, the nephew, and then the final fight.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I was just shocked that Jackie Chan did certain stunts. Like I think he did his classic one where he pushes some guy off of a roof, or not off of a roof. He pushes him like off the stairs, the
Yeah.
stairs, and he goes like through the stairs and hits a table.
Right.
Although I was upset at that, like you said, they edited certain stuff because they like it was like 3 separate shots. It's like Jackie Chan's like stunt crew would have done it in one shot.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So but I do highly, highly suggest people going and seeing it. I think it was a great movie, something I would want to buy to have just
Oh,
as a thriller.
I'm definitely fine. I mean, like I said, I think the one thing that I will say about this film, if you don't normally like Jackie Chan, go see this movie. Because I went with my grandma and my mom, and we drove an hour to go see this movie. And they both don't normally like Jackie Chan films because most of them are just amazing martial arts with no story. And they were engrossed with it. They loved the movie. And I think that's one thing that's really awesome about this movie is I think The Foreigner actually brings in a different audience to Jackie Chan that don't normally appreciate what he does.
Well, the people that like the dramatic stuff more than the action.
Yeah.
It really should bring in people that love both. You have a
Oh,
little
I
bit of everything, and the thriller aspect of the storyline I thought was good too. So I enjoyed it. I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you, Matt, for joining me on this review of The Foreigner. I'm glad we got to do that. And stay tuned. We will be having episodes of Young Justice starting again here pretty soon if you're interested in those. Links to all of my stuff and Matt's stuff is in the description below. Check all of that stuff out. If you're on Vidme, upvote this, give me a follow, and share it around. And if you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you on the next video.